Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. And if you are returning, thank you so much. And if you are new here, I welcome you. I welcome you. Mwah, mwah, mwah. This channel was created as a safe place for souls just to talk about God's word. Um, I'm a person who is like a visual learner, meaning that I don't want to use the word visual learner, but when I read the Bible, I can literally see Jesus sitting on the stoops and a crowd around him, and I can hear the kids playing by with their ball as he's teaching the word. So I can really get lost in a book and just visualize everything. So sometimes when I'm going through my word and I'm reading the Bible, like I'm just so full of thoughts, um just meditating and whatever God pours into me. But this time was different. So I created this 7-part series so far. I don't know if it'll be more than 7, but I wrote down 7 of 7 things God planted in me as I was pulling weeds. And if that title sounds funny to you, you have to go through episodes 1 through 3. And part 1 kind of talks about where that started. In a nutshell, I had weeds in my yard. I was pulling them up. And you know what? God showed me a lot of things as I was pulling weeds. So this is part 4. I don't have no special effects, so this is what I get. This was just what y'all get. Okay, part 4. And again, I'm looking at my sheet because I don't want to miss anything. So part 4, where the weed rises is not its root. Let me read that again. Where the weed rises is not its root. Now, I say that to say this. When I was pulling up the weeds, I noticed, even though I went in the upward motion, like I start at the base of the weed and I pull it up, it seems to be pulling from somewhere distant. Even though I pulled up, it's coming from somewhere else. And so I'm like, whoa, that's different. I'm used to that picture they show you in 2nd grade when they talk about the parts of the flower, and it just goes up and down, and the roots are there, and then the stems here, and the flowers here, and the leaf is here. And so I thought weeds would be the same way. Oh no. So just to recap, grass has a stem. It's on a stem that goes horizontal like this, sideways, and then the grass actually comes up like that from the stem, and what's connected to the stem underneath are the roots, right? Sometimes the weeds will go in between it, but what I noticed is the weeds didn't just grow up and down like the diagram plant that we're taught in the 1st grade. They actually implanted themselves long within and over and about through the yard. It wasn't just a simple pull-up motion. And so let me just check out my notes. So I found it important to get rid of every part of the root. So what I had to do, the beginning was easy to pull up, but the further it went, it seemed to have a lighter touch, meaning that like it got smaller, right? So I had to carefully guide and go through each part to actually get all the root, because if you don't do that, it has a chance to grow again, even like in a smaller way. It took me a couple of tries to realize that the root didn't just grow up like the sun, like how all the plants like seek the sun. It just intertwined itself through the darkness. It intertwined itself sideways and any way it could get in. I'm going to let y'all digest on that, because I already attributed in part 3 that the root to me was just as negative to the grass, just as the enemy is to us, the devil. And so you digest that a bit, how it intertwines through maybe our life circumstances, and it seemed to even come up and spread in different ways. And so I found that sometimes problem situations are like not just one simple problem, like a root of a problem. It can be intertwined with so many things. I'm going to give you an example. And the thing is, just to end that part, what I was talking about how intertwined, the root never was where it originally was. It was from somewhere else. It just rooted itself in between somewhere else. It wasn't this origination. And I wanna say, I think I'm being led to talk about my experience in the medical field. And I dealt with people who struggle with substance abuse, drugs, alcohol, you name it. And I think we all, unless you came from that yourself or dealt with a friend or family member or somebody close to you that struggled with drugs or alcohol, I'm not gonna lie to you. As a new nurse, I found myself to be, and I'm gonna tell you from my heart, I'm not ashamed of it because God got that out of me quick. And you are just really judgmental. Well, I'm just gonna say me, judgmental to people who deal with alcoholism, substance abuse, things like that. And so the more I dealt with and took care of people on substance abuses, I found that they weren't doing it just for the party and fun. And I think where I got that stereotype from was just growing up watching certain movies where people were just like, yeah, let's have fun. And then, they smoke and drink. So my ideology, that's where I got that from. And then plus I did have grew up where I had families or whatever that, drank or smoked cigarettes. And so it was like a more of a fun thing, right? And so my prejudice came from people who are on substance abuse or who suffer with alcoholism. They just took it too far. They just took it too far. They just want to have fun. They're bad people, right? No. What I found when I talked with them, when I got down to the nitty gritty through my day, these people are hurt people. Sometimes it was physical. Let me just get that out the way. You have people that may deal with back pain or other ailments, right? And so, in all fairness, the doctors can't just go crazy with prescribing you meds and pain meds and stuff. They'll try like other things to try to take care of the pain. But these people have real pain, right? And so, to take away that pain, the physical pain, they would drink, or there's other drugs that will help take care of that pain. Because we all human. Nobody wants to be in pain, right? So let's get the physical out the way. So sometimes that happens. A drink is cheaper and it's less to go through to take care of the pain. Like, who's going to wait at the doctor? Some didn't have insurance. So like other substances will help take care of the pain. So I had to knock off that prejudice. I'm like, well, whoa, I get that. I totally get that because I don't want to be in pain all the time. I get